I always pray, okay, God, he's yours. You fix him. And if I'm the problem, fix me.
Yes.
He does. A lot of times it is me that needs to be fixed. Maybe I'm having a bad attitude or I'm grumpy or whatever that day.
Welcome to Marriage Monthly. We're Gabe and Alyssa Kolstad, and we want to help you build a healthy, lifelong marriage. We get together every single month with a podcast designed to just give you practical tips to help you grow in your marriage, and we can't wait to spend some time with you.
Hey, welcome everybody. It is a beautiful summer in the Pacific Northwest, and we are so excited to see you and to be here with you for this edition of Marriage Monthly. Today, we're going to talk about building a life together.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and we are thrilled to have our friends Steve and Julia Jordan on with us. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey, great. Thanks for having us.
We've known you guys for how many years? I don't even know. I've lost track.
When did you started going to Westside in 2009?
Okay. So 16.
Yeah. 16 big years. Wow.
Yeah.
And if for those of you that are joining us on this, we decided, we were thinking about building a life together, and we got a chance recently to go down and stay with Steve and Julia at their beautiful house on the Oregon coast. And we just felt like, these guys are the perfect people to talk with us about this, because God's done such great things in your life.
Yeah, but don't spoil it.
I know, I'm sorry. But we've cooked up a bunch of really great questions that we think are going to help us navigate this conversation. And we hope that those of you who are out there watching and listening this month, that you will really take this to heart, because we all know that it's work to build a marriage. And there are some times when you're like, what in the world is going on? But I think we are here with the perfect people to help us to have a really great perspective on this. So let's start off with question number one. Yeah.
So how did we meet? Steve and I met when I was 8 years old at our friend's house. The first time I saw him was before we met, and I thought he was very cute and thought I would like to meet him. And I would say, because you asked if it was a slow burn or love at first sight. And I would say it was a slow burn because I was only 8.
I hope so, at 8 years old.
But we became friends over the years and had our ups and downs, as friends do.
Yeah. I was 10 at the time, and at my best friend's house, like she said. And, we didn't date until we were teenagers.
Right.
So we were friends a long time before we even considered dating each other.
I love it. So how long have you been married now? Tell everybody.
42 years. So, yeah.
It's pretty good. We celebrated 30 last
week. Amen.
I remember when we were married like 10 years and somebody was asking us marriage advice, and I always felt like, give us a few years. I don't know if anything we share right now, could be taken to the bank or not. But at this point, I think we can trust what you guys say
42
about
years.
marriage. So that's awesome.
What still makes you guys smile about each other, though, after 42 years?
Well, Steve has a special smile that he gives me.
Oh.
And if I can get him to give me that smile when he's not in the mood, that makes me really smile and laugh. Because I always laugh.
I've always loved her laugh. When she laughs, it makes me smile every time. And so that's really when I'm the happiest, when she's laughing. Yeah.
I love that. That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about the topic of building your marriage, and you think back to your newlywed selves, what would that have meant to you as newlyweds? And how does that now change? You think, 42 years ago, what would it have meant to build a life together? And now when you look back, what does it mean?
Oh, well, when we got married, we had premarital counseling. Okay. And the best advice we got was to keep Jesus in the center of our marriage, that it wasn't just him and I, it was him and I and Jesus.
Wow.
And so that part of the definition hasn't really changed. It's only expanded. And
that's good.
Yeah. When we started, it was just me and her and, our love. And I was more focused on my relationship with Christ and of course the girl. I love the girl. So, but then over the years we've had we had 2 houses that we moved into, and we have 3 boys, and now we have 6 grandchildren.
Wow.
So, our life together has expanded greatly because of that as well. So, yeah.
I love that. Keep Jesus in the middle, right?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Steph.
By the way, I got to say, we got to see, we were in their town recently, and we looked across because we stumbled into this party. You guys remember that? We stumbled into this.
Yeah.
What in the world? It was like block party. Music was happening, and this is Florence, Oregon, and then Steve pointed across the river and said, "By the way, that's the hotel where we had our honeymoon 42 years ago." So that was cool to see.
That was really sweet.
Yeah, that was a really neat connection.
So, good connections to there.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the storms that you've weathered, because that's really why we're doing this, is to go, you can build a life together and it's not going to be perfect.
Well, and you can put Jesus in the center as much as possible, but sometimes we kind of pull him out of that center for a time being. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah. So we know you've been through some really difficult seasons, including addiction and recovery. What was maybe one of the lowest points, and how did you, I think this is a really great question, how did you hold on to each other during that time?
You're going to go first on that, right? Or
No,
me?
you were.
Okay. So, well, the main reason that I became an alcoholic was because I had some bitterness and hurts that happened, and I didn't handle it well. Instead of turning to God, I was unforgiving and bitter, and I actually turned more towards just kind of separating myself, thinking I could be a better Christian on my own, and started to drink socially. And then that kind of just snowballed over the years, and I got worse and worse until, I even though I tried several times to quit, it was just strangling my life and strangling my marriage and my family. And I got to the lowest point when I was just thinking I was worthless and be better off, my family be better off without me. I was actually thinking about just ending my life. And, that was that was the lowest point. And I cried out to God and said, "Hey, I can't quit," and I asked him for help, even though in my heart, I thought that God wouldn't have me back. So that was my lowest point. And what held me back is he heard my prayer, answered it not quite the way I wanted him to, but brought his light in my life again. Yeah.
Wow.
He's so faithful. That's
Yeah.
Yes, the next question.
Julia, did you have anything to add to that?
Well, I was just going to say, yes, that was the hardest, and holding on to our commitment and to God, and turning to him for answers, because like Steve said, it was blown up pretty much. And, we didn't know where to go from there. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, how did you love him through that? Like, that's a really low point for him. And you had to try to be consistent in your love with him, even though you were probably in so much pain as well.
Oh yeah. I felt shattered and hopeless. And then I cried out to God for the answers, because I knew that he was the only one that could fix my husband. And that, and in that, not to say, it was all spiritual or anything. I mean, I was totally shattered, and asking God, what what is happening here, because we started out, right. And so I knew God was in control, and that he loved me, and that he was going to make things better. And years before, God gave me Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. in all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. And that really, I didn't understand that verse when I got it before, because I'm like, I'm already following you. My path is running straight. So why are you giving me this verse? But yeah, when this all happened, it really came to light, that was the verse for me.
Yeah, that is my favorite verses as well. So
that was her mom's favorite verse too.
It's marker, her tombstone.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
Powerful. But it is something you have to commit to every day, right? Just Christian, and you start out, hey, we're going to do this, and God's going to be in the center. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden life happens and stuff gets stressful and you don't know how to handle it. And so you kind of take things in your own hand. You kind of move Jesus out of that spot and start to, and then it's like, how do you get him back in there? It's like, it's hard. It can be difficult. Yeah.
So talk to us about what was it like for you to go through the process of forgiveness and restoration and healing and all of those things?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was really hard because I already had trust issues anyway in my life. And so, but God showed me, I wasn't perfect. He forgave me, and I kind of thought Steve, when I met Steve, he was the ultimate person that I felt God really gave me a gift in him. And so I trusted him. And then when that happened, I didn't know what to trust anymore because, it's of God. And so, I guess that's what I got. And trusting that God will work on him and that I need to look and focus on myself, that because I had issues too. I wasn't putting our marriage and stuff first, it was God, it wasn't God and it wasn't my marriage. It was me. I was out having fun just as much as he was. Well, not quite as much, but, but, knowing that I can't fix him and that I have to focus on myself and focus on God and know that God can fix me and fix him. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Such an important distinction, I think, and we have not only stumbled on that same point of like, at some point you're like, you want marriage health so bad, you want things to be, perfect so much that sometimes we are all in that place of going like, I could fix my spouse, I think being able to let go and then take that other approach, which is, God, if you'll just work on me. And if I'll just cooperate with you in working on me, then, I'm going to trust that you're doing the same thing with my spouse.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of faith, I think, to do that.
Well, and I was wondering too, Steve, how did you, like you said, you were obviously in turmoil, even though you were the one drinking. How did you forgive yourself and try to get back on track?
That's a good question.
Well, it kind of started with, as I did a moral inventory of myself.
Wait, we got to explain this.
Okay.
Recovery.
So, well, let's just back up. So unforgiveness and bitterness was the main reason that I got separated from God and the church in the first place, is that I wasn't following that path of forgiveness. And so I ended up, being separated from God and the church and became an alcoholic. And that was my new God. I was putting him above Christ and the church and everything. And I ended up becoming worse than anybody I'd ever judged. And so the beginning of that, as I started writing down all my sins, and then also I started writing down all the things that people had done to me. Well, my list was really lopsided. I hurt way more people than ever hurt me. I had this long list of sins that were revealed to me, and God was forgiving me. So it was easy. It was really easy for me to forgive, the the things that I had against other people or the resentments I had against my wife, they were nothing compared to what I had.
Yeah.
So once I had done that, it was easy to see them in a different light.
Yeah.
But then God convinced me through scriptures and through Celebrate Recovery and different other avenues, counsel from, Pastor Gabe here, that forgiving myself was the only avenue for me to move forward. And so that's when it became easier for me to forgive myself, because I realized I can't be a blessing to anybody if I'm sitting here just beating myself up all the time.
Exactly.
I'm no good to anybody at that point.
And so for me, I remember I was a part of Celebrate Recovery. You guys, we started years ago, and then you guys came in and took it over. Celebrate Recovery is a 12-step Christian recovery program for anybody with a hurt, habit, and hang up. That's what we're talking about when we say CR. But it's such a powerful ministry. And so you guys led that for I don't even know, maybe a decade or something, or close to that. And you guys did such a great job helping people through the hurts, habits, and hangups, because you guys got help through the hurts, habits, hangups. So when you're saying you wrote down a moral inventory and all that stuff, that's a part of the 12 steps that from, right? And so it's super powerful. So you go through all this drama, all this pain. So you start out with Christ in the center, then you kind of pull him out. Things kind of went AWOL for a while. You pull him back in the center, you clear up your life, clean up, find healing, find hope, go through the steps, all this stuff. And then God says, I got a new dream for you. Like, we're going to switch things up. You're going to move to a new place and everything's going to change. And it's going to be awesome. Tell us a little bit about how you went from this, crazy life and healing. And they're like, you know what? We're going to start all over in another area. And this is our 5-year goal or whatever it is. What did that look like? Because I'm looking like young people and people listening to this are going to be like, how do I end up in my little dream spot someday with the one I love?
Right.
What does that look like? So what did you guys do?
Well, that's funny, because I had always dreamed of designing and building my own home since I was really young. And we both enjoyed nature and wanted to have our own property. We'd looked for many years. And when we started looking again in 2019, we decided Florence. Tis where we honeymooned.
We looked at a lot of houses, as she said. And then remembering that she had that dream of building her own house. When we couldn't find a house, they'd all fall through, So we've decided, well, hey, why don't we look at this dream and see if we can build our own house? And so we looked for some property, and we found the place where we're at right now. And I'm going to try to do this quick, because I could take all day just talking about how God answers prayers.
It's a great story.
Process, but I'll try to make it quick. So in 2019, October, we found this place and we stepped on the property, and I felt like the Holy Spirit was saying, this is it. And Julie agreed, and we went ahead and made an offer on it. So that was the first hurdle. The realtor got back to us right away and said, oh, sorry, you were beat out on the property and you're not going to get it. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I wasn't hearing from God. All the doubts come in. So we actually gave up. And then he called us back in December and said, hey, that property's available. And so we were like, what's wrong with it? Did we hear from God? All the doubts come in. And we finally wrestled around with that and prayed about it and said, okay, let's make an offer. We made the offer and negotiated and got the property. So, and we were like gung-ho to build right away. And that was December 2019. We actually closed in January. And then March 2020 hits.
Of course.
And we have a pandemic.
Everything stopped.
Prices go sky high, way out of our price range. There's no way we can build. So we're like, okay, well, we have a glorified campsite. So we worked on the property, and that kind of went on for a couple of years. And then in 2022, we finally got a permit to put a driveway in, so at least we could get our driveway in. And so we got that out of the way. And then, again, circling around with the county, trying to get permits, having them tell us we need to do another thing, and then doing that thing, and then having them come around and tell us we had to do another thing that we already did. And then, so it was just like a vicious circle. We're never going to get a permit, is kind of what we thought.
And then our framer decided he didn't want to do it anymore. So now we don't have a framer.
Anyway, so it was just like a mess. So we kind of just were almost at the point of giving up. And at that time, we were going through the Dare to Dream series at the church. And during Julia Gentry, right?
Yeah.
So we're in the service and she's there ministering, and she calls me up that Sunday.
Yeah.
And I go up there and she starts speaking, a word in my life, and says, hey, God is going to help you with your dreams.
Oh my gosh.
God loves you.
I remember that.
And all this and all this happening. And so, I left there thinking, oh my gosh, that was awesome. But I had no idea how awesome, because all of a sudden the doors started opening and we started getting permits. We had a contractor driving our driveway that was perfect for helping us build the house. And he stuck with us through the whole thing. And, we got a foundation, and, every step we'd like, oh, so excited. And then some disappointment would happen, inspections fail or something like that. And we'd have to redo something. And we'd be on our knees thinking, is this ever going to happen? And then God would come through. And we had this cycle of, disappointment, doubt, God answering prayers, and then excitement, and then back to the cycle again. This went on over and over again, but he was faithful and helped us through the struggle all the way. And this is, he answered prayers. I have to tell you one more thing. We had a quote that literally was like 90% higher than what we actually had to pay.
Wow.
And it was like,
okay,
we got it for like 10% of what I thought I was going to have to pay. And then that allowed us to do a lot of other things on the house that we didn't think we were going to get to, So anyway,
when we got the bill, he looked at it and he's like, I don't think this is right. I think it's a typo. And so we called the lady, and she thought we were complaining that it was too high.
We're like, no,
we just want to make sure that this is the correct price.
Wow.
And he goes,
that no one
check and run down there and pay it before they do.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a good idea. So I love that. I think that's really powerful. And the stuff that you did before that too, like you both worked at TriMet, right? And you were like putting away money and trying just saving up for your dream. And then things just kind of all worked out financially eventually, and all the blessings happened. I mean, that's really neat. But that house isn't just your dream fulfilled as a beautiful dream house. It's also a place that you guys want to use for healing and restoration and peace retreats and things like that. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, that's me. Yeah. Well, so during all of that, when we were struggling with, permits not passing or, whatever, I kept saying to Steve, God gave us this property. There's a purpose for it. His timing is perfect. So, if all else fails, we've got a good investment, or like you said, a good piece of property to camp on, and so that's kind of how our mindset kind of went, that this is God's house. And so, that's one of the things we want to do, is be able to have people come down and, bring their kids and we remember what it was like to try to get a hotel room or whatever for 5 people. It's so expensive, and so or just couples. Many times we'd gone to like Christian Renewal Center or whatever, where it was free. You could pay what you could, And so we kind of feel like that's kind of what God wants to do here. There's plenty of places to park an RV and to camp, and we have a couple extra bedrooms. And so, that's kind of
and
how it came about.
And we figured, it's pretty clear that God gave us this place.
Yeah.
And he provided it. And, it's just something we want to do is give back. If we're not here, I would rather someone use it than have it sit empty. Financially, like Julie said, it's expensive to get a house at the coast for, a week or a weekend or whatever. And if we can help somebody have a breath of fresh air and not have to, go in debt or spend a bunch of money, they have a full kitchen. They can, make it, I just think that we can bless people with this, and we already have got to. So
yes,
it's
to bless
us. Yeah. I'm kind of curious. They say your misery becomes your ministry, and I'm kind of curious how you see what God brought you guys through as it. What's the connection to now in terms of this sort of hospitality, healing approach you're taking? How does that connect with what God's done with you, and what connections you guys see?
Well, I know we're not the only couple who's been broken, and maybe someone else can be inspired by that, and then maybe we can help somebody that is like just needs a place where they can have a breath of fresh air, and they don't have to worry about things. Maybe they need to get away from their kids for a weekend, and they can come here and stay, and we can host them, or maybe if we're not here, they can just have the house for a few days and have a place where they can just be with God and not have anything else to worry about.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we like to see happen.
That's cool.
I love that. Thinking about what you guys have gone through, what would you say to couples right now who are going through a really dark chapter, like the chapter you guys went through for a while? That doesn't define your marriage, but it has made your marriage stronger and made you more influential with helping people. And so what would you say to a couple that's just in the thick of it right now going, I don't know if we're going to make it. What are we going to
do? Well, I would say, seek God, pray for each other, pray together. Let God show you your part in the struggle and what you need to do. And then, let God show your partner. Kind of touched on this before.
Yeah.
Their part and what they need to do to work on themselves. When I get frustrated with Steve, and I still do, I always pray, okay, God, he's yours. You fix him. And if I'm the problem, fix me.
Yes.
And he does. I mean, a lot of times it is me that, needs to be fixed. Maybe I'm having a bad attitude or I'm grumpy or whatever that day. And maybe I snipped or whatever, So and give each other grace. I mean,
that's good.
Sometimes, it's hard, especially when you're still working and stuff and you've got like young kids and all that,
It's hectic.
Right. And just like, okay, he had a bad day at work or, whatever, not giving him an excuse, but just like, let them breathe for a minute and not bombard them with what all the problems that are happening in the house, the first thing, but just give them grace for a minute and,
good stuff. 42 years. It's good stuff.
If you could rewind and go back, or you could go back in time, get a time machine and go back and go to that hotel in Florence and meet your newlywed selves, what advice would you give to them from where you're at now?
Oh, well, I would say don't let a root of bitterness or unforgiveness to grow in you.
Wow.
Go to God with it and pray and keep going, and because that literally destroyed us almost.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, without Christ repairing all the damage, that bitterness and root of bitterness, you know, it says in there that it can rise up and defile many. And unfortunately, I know firsthand that that's the case. It's an ugly picture. And so if I could tell myself, don't go down that road, that's what I would do.
Yeah, and it takes courage it would take courage not to go down that road, because we all look at I guess we kind of look at the things that are happening in our marriage, and you know, maybe there's this avoidance of, well, I don't want to bring this up, or I don't want to confess this, or I don't want to deal with this. You know, we'll just move past it, and it'll just be a little speed bump, but we'll get past it. But you're right, sometimes those things turn into a giant problem. So,
well, and we've talked. And, you know, part of it is that sometimes we tell ourselves what our partner is thinking in our own head. And it might not, we don't know what our partner is thinking unless we actually talk to them about it, you know. And so being there, you know, praying with each other and really knowing, you know, that your partner's on your side.
Yes.
Maybe not at the moment, but they deep down inside, they are on your side and they want, you know, you to succeed. I mean, in your marriage to succeed. So when you're thinking those things, don't assume that that's really what they're thinking.
Don't make assumptions. And that's so easy to do in relationships, is I assume all the time. Don't do that. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah.
What do you guys think you would love to see happen in the big picture with your story and with your dream and with your home? I mean, how do you hope you're able to impact people?
Well, I hope that other couples that are struggling could be inspired to put their trust in Christ. If I could say anything, it's like, He is so faithful. He will help you if you put your full trust in Him. Put your trust in Him and keep putting your trust in Him, because He will not fail you.
Yeah.
He does not failed us, and He never has, He never will. And He's a firm foundation. There is nothing firmer.
I love that, because I feel like a lot of times when we do go through hard times, we blame God. Why did God let this happen? Why did God, you know? And it's like, no, we have pulled God out of His rightful spot. Like, we are in this situation because, maybe we got hurt and that's legitimate. But a lot of times we're not relying on God anymore. We turn to something else. And then we wonder, well, why did God let this happen?
Yeah.
It's like,
right. And that was a lot of where I was having a hard time forgiving Steve, is because it's like, I mean, I was yelling at God, hey, you know, you gave him to me, you know, you told me he was going to be my husband. And, you know, why are you letting this happen? You know? And so, that is big, that, you know, God loves me. And when that all happened, it was like, okay, I know, God, that my prayers seem to be hitting the ceiling, but I know you love me. And I know you have a good plan for me, because that's what it says, you know, in the Bible, in Jeremiah 29:11.
Yep. Well, and keep in mind too that there is a dark side in this world, and Satan doesn't like happy, godly marriages. And so we keep that in mind, that when we feel the force and the fight happening, sometimes that's Satan getting in the middle of there, just causing chaos in our relationship, because he likes that. He likes chaos. God doesn't like that, but we let him go crazy with us, and we fall into it. We're like, oh, well, God's out of the picture now. Well, no, you just let Satan in the picture. No, don't do that. Get him. Put God back in. Kick him out. Put God right back in. There's a dark place.
Yeah, and that's how it's been. You know, there's one of the things also is that when we got married, it wasn't just Julie and I being joined together. It's God and Julia and Steve that are joined. And Julia and Steve have messed up several times. Steve the most, but I can own that, but Christ hasn't. He has been stable the whole time.
Yeah.
We move, but he is always there. He never changes. And, that's what's wonderful is that he accepted me and washed my sins away when I first came to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He still does.
Yes.
He still does.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking, as you guys have been talking, a verse has been going through my mind the whole time, which is that one in Psalms, I think. It says, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. And, you guys have really allowed, I think that to me, if I was to go, what's the story of your success? I mean, what is your secret sauce? I think it is surrender. I think you have allowed the Lord to be the builder of the house, even when it required humility and, sometimes going through consequences and then commitment and faith when you couldn't see how it was all going to work out. But you guys have allowed God to be the builder and of not only your marriage and your life, but even your actual home. And so now you're in a place of blessing other people, which is so cool. Not just with you're going to bless people with the room they stay in and the beautiful house and the crazy fancy toilet in the hallway bathroom.
Give it away.
But it's awesome. But you're going to bless people with all that stuff, but you're mostly going to bless people with the legacy of letting God build a house.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys so much and the wisdom that you have and that you're sharing it with us to be able to increase more happy marriages and marriages that aren't going to let go in the hard times, are going to keep going. Because later in life, sometimes when you go through all this crap, you go later and you look back and think like, oh man, that was a bummer, but it made you who you are today to be that loving, giving couple that is totally surrendered and willing to serve God no matter what. No matter where I know you're serving now at a new church down in Florence. We miss you guys at Westside, but we're so happy for you guys and where you're at right now.
She's happy. Yeah. I'm not.
He's so mad, but I'm happy for you.
No, I'm just kidding.
We'll see you every chance we get.
I know you will. Yeah.
If we're in Portland, we'll be at Westside.
Love it.
That's right.
So the one other thing that I would tell a newcomer or a newlywed person or even an old couple is never stop learning how to be a good partner and how to have a good marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had people ask us, you guys have been married 41 years or 42 years and you're still going to marriage retreats? It's like, always. Yes, because, there's always something new to learn. And seasons in your life, there's the newlywed season, there's the kids season, there's the older season, retirement season. So, it's, you got to learn, keep learning.
Yeah.
Because we're changing as we grow,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I agree with that. That's really good stuff. Yeah. Agreed.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. It's been a blessing to have you on here. Super fun. We're ready to come back and see you again sometime soon.
Yeah, we love you guys.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah. Anytime.
Right. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember to share and subscribe and join us every single month. This is your counseling session.